Hey guys, welcome back. So something important here. I want to talk about how a lot of experts, doctors, just people in general, they misapply meditation to trauma. And they end up making the situation worse for themselves. And in some cases, well, if they're trying to get others to recover from trauma, they make their situations worse. All right, so we all know that meditation is a mind body practice that focuses attention on training awareness, detaching from reflexive thoughts, and achieving emotional calm, right? That's the whole point. That's the whole goal of meditation. We're creating this awareness of the present moment where we're at, what we were focusing on, and at the same time, simultaneously, we're not thinking about other thoughts from past, present, later, today that can enter our minds. We just want to block that out. We're developing that ability. And that end result, which is the most important thing, is we're going to create or achieve this emotional calm state in the end after we undergo the meditation itself. So now what you're asking yourself is, okay, that makes sense. Now, where's the problem involving meditation? I'm going to explain that. So it's not meditation itself is not the issue, it's just the way people are misapplying it. So, as I mentioned 2 videos ago, in order to cope with trauma or even better to defeat it once and for all, we need to establish safety and fulfill our basic life needs first. So, this is just 1/3 of the equation here, all right? The second third of this process involves using a technique or a strategy, like a grounding one, like meditation, to develop this healthy emotional calm state, or calm for short. And in my case, I already mentioned I have my own form of meditation, which I find to be, well tailored to dealing with trauma. It's really effective. And finally, once we've done that, once we maintain that healthy emotional regulation that we extracted from the meditative experience, what do? Step 3, we're gonna work on our goals and responsibilities in life to build esteem, build this sense of great self-worth of us, right? And we do that because we want to basically create our positive identity, this new identity, this new persona. And that's it. Once you've done that, you've solved the puzzle. And this new identity, obviously, it's going to dissociate itself from that traumatic identity that haunted us, that we've been living with for days, weeks, months, or years even. All right, so now here are the 2 ways you can misapply meditation and make the trauma worse. So, number one, you use meditation to focus on painful memories and body sensations that were associated with your trauma. And this is what some, I'd say many, in fact, gurus and therapists will advise you to do. But in my view, confronting these painful memories head on will only make the situation much worse and make you relive the trauma, okay? Because you're kind of triggering those thoughts, those memories. And I think this is detrimental, useless, and even stupid if you were to ask me. So when I use meditation, and I use my own technique, my own form, as I mentioned before, I use it to establish awareness of my present location and date. That's the difference. I'm not thinking about the traumatic thoughts or memories I had. Fuck that. You don't want to focus on that. You want to think about where you're meditating, right? And what you're meditating to, maybe, depending on your meditation. Like, at least this involved my technique. And the thing is, we're like meditating using some kind of neutral or positive stimuli, right, in that location. So again, I'm not going to use this meditative awareness, right, this emotional development that we've established to recall those traumatic memories, because again, our goal here is to forget about those. We don't want to think about them at all. We want to repress them, okay? And we just want to focus on things that are neutral and safe, and then meditate our mind toward them so that we can, achieve or establish this emotional calm state, right? And again, this is going to be the necessary ingredient to help us down the road to work on our goals, take care of chores, just anything that life throws at us, tasks, assignments, right? All these different things that are part of our life, we need to have that emotional calm in order to take care of all these things so that finally we can reach that final third of the solution, which is, that sense of identity, right? We need the achievements, we need all those small or big wins to reach that new positive identity. Now, what is that second issue with this kind of misunderstanding that people have about, not misunderstanding, but misapplying meditation to trauma? Okay, so, some certain traditional meditations like transcendental meditation, this kind can be harmful when it comes to dealing with trauma because these types of meditation, they're focusing just inward. They're not focusing on an external object, like in my case. So they're focusing inward by trying not to think about anything at all. And while they're doing this, they're essentially dysregulating their nervous system and they're establishing this state of stillness, right? And what does that do? Well, it's going to trigger those flashbacks, panic attacks that you got from the trauma. And what does that mean? Well, you lose the end result. You're not going to be able to establish that emotional calm you were looking for. Because that's the thing, guys. If you remember 2 videos ago, I mentioned that emotional regulation, this emotional maintenance, is a part of the solution in dealing with trauma. Because you can't just stand still. You can't ignore trauma just by ignoring it. If you just try to, ignore it or suppress your emotions through escapism, like watching movies or playing video games, watching porn, just scrolling on social media, regardless if you're doom scrolling. These kinds of distractions, they're not helping. Yes, you're blocking out the emotion, but it's not going to help you repress them. You're not going to stop them. They're going to eventually enter your head, a few minutes later after you're done with these activities. These are only temporary and they don't deal with the problem. And that's the thing with transcendental meditation, because like these other activities that try to suppress the emotions, like your emotional energy, it's going to cause you to basically trigger them later. And yeah, so remember, we're not bots. Maybe if we're bots, we can get away with this, but we're humans. We're wired to emotions, whether we like them or not. We're emotional beings. We're sentient. So the only thing we could really do to fix trauma, or at least deal with it, manage it better, is we need to replace those negative thoughts and associations and triggers and stressors with positive emotions. We need these positive emotions to flow into our mind and body to some extent. And in order to do that, we first need to establish that emotional calm state using the technique, the meditative technique that I suggested. And once we've obtained that emotional calm state, then we can use that to take care of all these, life obstacles that involve just doing chores, right? Menial tasks, or working on some goals and learning new skills. Because once we are able to achieve as many of those as possible, we're going to start to feel really happy, really content, really relaxed. And, in the end, we've established that firm, positive, healthy identity. So keep that in mind. Sometimes people take a good concept or a good technique or good method and they misapply it. They don't use it correctly. And yeah, so just, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next